Are you ready to think bigger? Not just a little more successful. Not just make some extra income. But so big that people look at you and shake their heads. In 2002, a 31-year-old man had just made $180 million. He could have retired, lived comfortably for the rest of his life. But instead of choosing safety, he asked a question that made the world laugh. If Earth is no longer safe, where will we go? That wasn't a business plan. It was a vision that stretched far beyond the limits of the present. While most people were focused on optimizing the next quarter, he was thinking 50 years ahead. While others were afraid of losing money, he was willing to risk his entire fortune. Big thinking doesn't start with resources. It starts with a different standard. The real question isn't, is this realistic? The real question is, if fear wasn't holding me back, how big would I dare to think? And that's what we're diving into today. Before we talk about rockets and Mars, let's talk about the man behind the mission. Elon Musk didn't start out as an aerospace engineer. He was a tech entrepreneur. He co-founded Zip2. Then came X.com, which later became PayPal. In 2002, PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion. Musk walked away with roughly $180 million. He was 31 years old. Most people would have chosen security, invested in real estate, started a fund, or retired early. But Musk was looking at a problem bigger than money. He believed humanity was living on borrowed time. We exist on just one planet. What if there's nuclear war? What if an asteroid hits? What if a global catastrophe wipes us out? He didn't just want to build another company. He wanted to build an escape route for humanity. So in 2002, he founded SpaceX. Not to make money, but to make humanity a multi-planetary civilization. That's not just thinking big. That's thinking on the scale of the future. But there was one problem. Elon Musk wasn't a rocket scientist. He didn't come from NASA. He didn't have a traditional aerospace background. So when he announced that he wanted to build reusable rockets at a fraction of the usual cost, industry experts practically laughed. At the time, the space industry was dominated by legacy defense contractors and government agencies like NASA. The idea that a small private company could compete in that arena sounded naive. The media called it a billionaire's vanity project. Many believed he was just burning money on a fantasy. But Musk didn't see it that way. He looked at the cost of rockets and asked a simple question. Why are we throwing them away after every launch? If airplanes are reusable, he argued, rockets should be reusable too. Instead of accepting the way things had always been done, he went back to first principles. He hired young engineers. He read aerospace textbooks for hours every day. He questioned the fundamentals of physics and manufacturing costs. People said it was impossible. But big thinking doesn't ask, has anyone done this before? Big thinking asks, if no one has done it, is that the opportunity? And that's when the real battle began. In 2006, SpaceX launched its first Falcon 1. Minutes later, it fell into the ocean. Failure. Not just an explosion, but tens of millions of dollars gone in seconds. Still, Elon Musk didn't stop. In 2007, the second launch. Another failure. Confidence started to crack. The press criticized him. Experts mocked the effort. In 2008, the third launch. The rocket lifted off, then lost control. Failure. 3 times in a row. At this point, it wasn't a story about vision anymore. It was about survival. The money was almost gone. At the same time, Tesla was on the brink of collapse. Musk had to borrow money just to make payroll. He had poured nearly his entire fortune into 2 companies. If the next launch failed, SpaceX would be bankrupt. No more investors. No 5th attempt. Just one last shot. This is the moment when most people would walk away. Protect what little they had left. Cut their losses. But Musk chose to bet everything. Because to him, failure wasn't as frightening as abandoning a vision big enough to change the future. And now, everything depended on one final launch. September 28, 2008. The launch site on Omelek Island, in the middle of the Pacific, was almost silent. It was the 4th launch of Falcon 1. And the final chance for SpaceX. There was no money left for mistakes. No room for another explosion. Elon Musk stood watching. 3 times before, he had seen his dream fall into the ocean. This time, either everything ended, or everything began. The rocket lifted off. It climbed higher, farther, steadier. Each minute felt like an hour. Then the call came through. Falcon 1 had successfully reached orbit. For the first time in history, a private company had sent a liquid-fueled rocket into Earth's orbit. Not NASA. Not a massive defense contractor. But a young company that many had once dismissed as a joke. Just weeks later, NASA awarded SpaceX a multi-billion-dollar contract. The company was saved. But more importantly, a new door had opened. From that moment on, the word impossible in the space industry began to lose its grip. And the dream of humans one day setting foot on Mars was no longer just science fiction. That was the moment the world stopped laughing and started listening. The story of Elon Musk isn't just about rockets. It's about a standard of thinking. Most people set goals based on what they believe is realistic. They shrink their dreams to fit their fears, their circumstances, their need for security. But big thinking operates by a different rule. It doesn't start with the question, "Do I have enough resources?" It starts with, "If this truly matters, am I willing to see it through?" Musk didn't ask whether the space industry would accept him. He asked, what needs to exist in the future? Thinking big isn't about inflating your ego. It's about expanding the size of the problem you choose to solve. When you think small, you compete. When you think big, you create a new playing field. When you think short-term, you protect comfort. When you think long-term, you accept risk in exchange for breakthrough. Big thinking demands 3 things. First, a vision that stretches beyond the present. Second, the resilience to endure skepticism. And third, the willingness to pay the price when everything falls apart. Not everyone needs to build rockets. But everyone can ask themselves, is my goal big enough to force me to grow? Or am I choosing safe goals so I don't have to change? Big thinking isn't for people who want comfort. It's for those who want to shape the future. Big thinking isn't reserved for billionaires. It doesn't require millions of dollars. It requires a higher standard for yourself. Elon Musk didn't start with an entire industry backing him. He started with a question big enough to redirect the course of his life. And the question for you is this: at what scale are you thinking? Are you setting goals that keep you safe? Or goals that force you to become a stronger version of yourself? If this story made you see things differently, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And drop a comment below. If there were no limits, how big would you dare to think?